Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Bradford Arick. Christine, a Fargo police detective called this sickening and disgusting. More headfire crews were also called in from across the river as these firefighters needed to continually take breaks and avoid heat stroke. The Valley City Police Department tells me they were called to the medical situation, but that they aren't investigating further. Is that how you're still able to operate? Is because
we don't excuse me, thank you.
He said he didn't even know that the bank had been robbed. He looked out the window and the place was crawling with police. A neighbor living in this yellow house says she heard two loud bangs this morning. She saw the flames, called 911, and then ran over to this garage. Those super cold temperatures are coming, and when they get here, whatever's on the road, the snow, the slush, whatever, is just going to freeze. And there's a 3-inch gap between this new concrete and the compacted gravel underneath, and it's going to need fixed. And the concern is that residents in this area are going to have to pay for it again. Many of you have been asking, as a convicted felon, how did Marcus Schumacher get the gun that killed Officer Mosier? I talked to one neighbor who lives across the street from the State Bank of Lake Park here in Hitterdal. He said he didn't even know that the bank had been robbed. He looked out the window and the place was crawling with police. The Clay County Sheriff's Office says the call came in just before noon that somebody had made off with an undisclosed amount of cash. And as the first news crew on scene, authorities had a tight seal on the area.
We believe that he was on foot, then exited a vehicle some blocks away. We did call out our canine officer, and it produced a track to a location where a vehicle had left the scene.
But the real challenge is the video surveillance, or lack of it. The bank has a video camera system, but it uses VHS tapes, is only black and white, and only takes a picture once every 4 seconds. So investigators got a shot when the suspect comes in and when he leaves.
Anything to help us out, give us something to follow up on. What we have is very limited information, and we're following up on what leads we've already discovered.
The only other images deputies could find was from Hitterdal Liquors, a block away. And this video is believed to show the suspect's getaway vehicle. In Hitterdal, Minnesota, Bradford Arick, Valley News Live. This review listed all but one Drug Task Force board member. The name of the very man who is supposed to be in charge of investigating the death of Andrew Sadek, NDSCS Police Sergeant Steve Helgeson. Numerous calls to the school and the campus police department yielded little, so I went to the college to try to talk with Sergeant Helgeson face-to-face today.
I have to go over to Haverty Hall and talk to our media gal.
Talk to the media gal?
Yep, our boss.
I mean, Sergeant Helgeson's sitting right there. Why won't he talk with me?
Because you have to go through our media department to talk to anybody.
We've tried that numerous times and they just won't put us in contact. Any reason you won't talk with us, Sergeant? Sorry? Any reason you won't talk with us?
Sir, please turn that off. Please turn it off. Talk to us.
Answer my questions. Sergeant Helgeson would not answer our questions. The BCI confirms Helgeson has a seat on the board and called it an oversight that his name wasn't on the review. We also wanted to know who was investigating Andrew Sadek's death. A footnote on page 1 of the review states the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension is the agency that has jurisdiction. When we asked the BCA, they sent me this. The document says the lead agency is the NDSCS Police Department, and campus officials report the case was turned over to them shortly after Sadek's body was found. The North Dakota AG's office and BCI in their report said it was a Minnesota BCA case. The BCA said that's not true. They have nothing to do with it.
The Andrew Sadek death investigation is being handled by campus police.
Campus police say it's their case. The BCI confirmed to me that it's a campus police case, and the BCA is also pointing at the campus police, which gets us back to our original question directed at Sergeant Steve Helgeson. Why won't you talk with us? It was only by a thin margin repealing North Dakota's Sunday closing law failed in the House. One lawmaker in favor of keeping the law in place feels Sunday mornings should be used for your wife to make you breakfast in bed. Another feels his wife spends all his hard-earned money the rest of the week and his wallet needs a day off. Don't believe me? I'll show you.
I don't know about you, but my wife has no problem spending everything I earn in 6.5 days. And I don't think it hurts at all to have a half a day off.
Spending time with your wife, your husband, making a breakfast, bring it to in bed, and then after you're done with that, go take your kids for a walk.
I don't see what's so frustrating about it, since they're, if it's the way they want to live, then, it's their choice.
But you don't find it degrading or anything
No,
like that?
I don't see why it should.
I hadn't heard the comments. I hadn't heard how outright the comments were. It's frustrating personally because when you know that those are the people representing you and you don't feel like you're being represented, and when these kind of backwards ways of thinking are still present, it's upsetting.
I reached out to the North Dakota Women's Network. A spokesperson called this, quote, regrettable humor, adding that it was sad to do this at the expense of women, and perhaps these legislators are not taking policy making for their women constituents seriously because of their personal biases. I called Representative Bernie Satrom, no answer. I called Representative Laning, and he laughed when I confronted him about the comments. He says it was only intended to be a humorous note, and he's not sure why some people have taken it personally, adding maybe those people lack a sense of humor.